your email address?
Summary report.
How do we contact you?
It's us.
Chris, is it, or Simon?
Contact the paper.
So, Chair, I'll just take you through the key
Oh, yeah,
points.
sure. Thanks, Chris.
So you've got the summary report there. So a couple of the key points is we've come up with a standard wording for all of the LTPs for the participating councils. So we all look and feel the same with our story around our hazards strategy. The other key thing is we've reinitiated our panels. So we've had a welcome back session, and then the panels will convene from November through to about mid next year. And there's a couple of things we'll be doing with those panels. Is one, reporting back some of the detailed work that we've done around design, etc., and present back the work that's being prepared on managed retreat, and also work with them around triggers to help develop that trigger package going forward. So that's going to be an intensive period of engagement with those panels. We also went through the funding work. So there was the suggestion that we retain a retired judge to work through the issues and make a recommendation to each of the partner panels. There was a fair amount of discussion around the engagement of each of the councils in how they would consider that recommendation. So the Joint Committee have asked us to write a paper to take to each council to effectively endorse in principle as much as they can the decision and the process around that. So we'll have to craft that carefully so it fits in with the appropriate council decision-making framework. But certainly the Joint Committee wants a high level of confidence from each of the councils that the recommendation will be taken very seriously and taken on board as much as possible by each council. So we're doing that now, and it finished up with a good site visit of the southern sites around Clifton and the H18 and the Cape Corner structure.
Tookie Groin.
And the Tookie Groin, yeah. So, Jeff, I don't know if you have any other comments.
Covered. Very good.
Questions for either Jareth or Chris? Okay then.
I'll move.
Thank you, Jareth.
I'll second.
Seconder. Wish to speak? Don't wish to speak?
No need to.
Rick? Anyone else wish to speak? Okay, we'll move the recommendation to receive and note the report. All those in favour?
Aye.
Approved. Thank you very much. Councillors' report from outside. So we have two. We have just for the everybody's notification. Many of our councillors sit on committees outside the council, and we'll provide this time where they can quickly update council and the public on that particular activity. So, tourism, anyway.
Yeah, kia ora. So I've got two types of things to share in terms of Hawke's Bay tourism and our visitor experiences here, especially post-COVID. So Hawke's Bay did a fantastic job, one of 16 regions to, in the month of August, have an overall growth of 10%, which was the best region in the country in the month of August in terms of visitors and visitor spend. In terms of Hawke's Bay tourism as an RTO, we were the fourth best RTO in August to have that 10% also visitor spend growth. Which reinforces the success of Hawke's Bay tourism strategy to go hard and early to protect and grow our domestic share. So that domestic share, especially from our Wellington visitor, increased from 2.61 to 3.15 for the month of August compared to last year in August. So that's a fantastic achievement and met the KPI that Hawke's Bay Tourism has with Hawke's Bay Regional Council for that over 3% domestic share. The second part is around Māori tourism in Hawke's Bay and our collaborative relationship, particularly with Ngāti Kahungunu in terms of supporting some of the events that they want to host next year, particularly around matariki and looking at expanding the fork program to be able to incorporate Māori themes, especially around that matariki time. So that's exciting for us moving forward. Hi, that's...
Thank you very much, anyone. Now, we'll take 2 questions if anyone's got burning questions. No. Oh, such a comprehensive report. Thank you very much. Will, you were going to report on
Drought.
That's the second time I've asked you that.
Thank you, Chair. So as most people will be aware now, the official response to the drought last summer is over. And yeah, obviously, looking out the window, conditions aren't too bad. The Drought Relief Fund also closed around a month ago, and that's, as far as I'm aware, that's all but gone. So good to see that the uptake of those that needed the assistance got on board and received what was available. So even though the response is now over from last season, I guess there is a careful watch on current conditions. So most, a large part of Hawke's Bay, annual calendar rainfall for this year is sitting at around 50% of what they'd expect. And as you know, we've only got 2 months to go, if not a bit less than 50%. So there is some concern about the capability of us to go very far this sort of late spring, early summer. If it does get hot and not a lot more rain eventuates. So yeah, I guess it's just something to keep a close eye on, and the Rural Advisory Group will be meeting regularly still to discuss that. Thank you.
Question? Yes,
So, just in regards to the 50%, is that right across the region, or is there a variance between north and south?
Oh, well, definitely down our way in Central Hawke's Bay. Probably not so much under the ranges. The weather pattern there seems to have returned to some normality. I know more sort of north west of Hastings, I know they did get quite good winter rains. But yeah, by and large, right now I think soil moisture conditions certainly below the root zone, the water table's pretty low. So just general nervousness, I think, across the region still. And actually the South Island East Coast are already talking about drought meetings and sending a lot of stock up this way because they are already in trouble by the sounds of it.
Well, I have a question. I was pondering this yesterday when it started to rain or drizzle. So a week ago we had 30 mils in Heratonga. And my question is, if we continue to have 20, 30 mils, I mean, we're not going to fill the huge gap, which is deep below the surface, but will the 20, 30 mils, if we get it periodically every sort of 3 weeks, which is predicted, will that allow the grass to grow sufficiently?
Yeah, definitely. Yep. So right now that's what it's doing. We're getting enough on a weekly type basis that it's keeping the grass growing, and most farms are in a pretty comfortable state.
If we don't get the big 100 mils, these small bits
are enough for grass growth. They're not enough to fill dams. Dams are still low.
Yeah,
and right. Probably not enough for river flows either.
No, there wouldn't be that much, particularly in grass. Okay, thank you. Well, that was excellent. Okay, so we will then move to discussions, minor items on the agenda. I think we might move to receive those 2 reports. Jeff, will you move?
Yeah, I'll move those.
And Rick, will you second that?
I'll second that for you.
Thank you very much. All those in favour of receiving those 2 reports? Aye. Thank you very much. Discussion of minor items on logs. Craig.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, on the 4th of October, 1 more additional log of wood arrived in Hawke's Bay. One of the treasures of the East Coast and Hawke's Bay is our reservoir of logs, and we export a lot of logs out of the wood, out of the port, of course. But this is one log of wood we do not want to export from our wonderful province. So I'd like to invite my colleagues to join in congratulating the mighty Hawke's Bay Magpies in lifting the Ranfurly Shield, also known as the Loggerwood, on the 4th of October from Otago, commonly known as Hawke's Bay South. But also acknowledge the team, everyone around the team, but particularly the captain, Ash Dixon, who just such a good, solid person with very strong values, just leads humbly but confidently from the front. And I think an aspiration, an inspiring person to many, many people. But also just note that in times when Hawke's Bay has held the shield, which plays a very large part and brings a smile to many people across the bay, but when we have it, just lifts confidence. It's another reason to smile, but it is just shows that actually we are a small but unbeatable province that can be New Zealand beaters, lead New Zealand in rugby, in environmental aspirations, whatever we like. So, Mr. Chair, just so we can put it on record, that I'd invite my colleagues here and yourself to join us in congratulating Hawke's Bay Magpies lifting and holding the Ranfurly Shield. Hopefully we can hold it for longer than we did in 1922 to 27, would you believe, when we held it for 24 challenges. So we've got 2 down so far, Wellington to come, and then we'll hold it for the season. So on that note, Mr. Chair, come on the bay.
Thank you, Craig. That's excellent. Mike, Maori cultural values. Following this.
I hope we haven't jinxed something. So my one, Mr. Chairman, was just in regards to the Three Waters and the Māori cultural values. Just in regards to how is Regional Council, first and foremost, I believe that Hawke's Bay Regional Council has received them. I'm just asking that as a question. And if not, why not? If they have, how do you intend to enact them? So those are my 2 questions. Don't have to be answered today.
We won't get the answers today, but you put it on the floor. I was just going to give a quick update on the Wairua Horticulture Project. Wairua managed to get not the full funds which we asked for out of the Provincial Growth Fund, but they got a substantial amount. And as you know, we were part of the original group, and we helped fund the original group with the treaty group in Wairua and the Wairua District Council and Parawera. Well, I'm very pleased that they have got a good hunk of the fund and they're getting ready to go. So I'm meeting them again in a week's time, but it's all charging ahead. So I'm very pleased that we've got that across the line, even not to the extent that we wanted to, but nevertheless. Okay, they were the only 3, were they, Leanne? Only 3. Right, therefore we will move into public excluded.
I'll move that we move into public exclusion.
Thank you. Jeff will second it. All those in favour?
Aye.
Turn the TV off, please.